Part 26. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 251. The students in Class D, Grade 1, work very hard. Because everyone, including Long Yuan himself, has less than 2,000 points on his student ID card. The current display screen in the center of the playground shows the scores of the red and white teams. Red Group Ad League, 13,676 points. White BC League, 11,200 points. The gap is huge. It can be confirmed that Class D can get a Ad 100 class evaluation score in the sports festival this time. But all points in the preferential treatment test were taken away from everyone. He even owed Oreki Houtarou 4 million points. Starting next month, you will need to repay 1 million points every month. In other words, everyone becomes a debtor. Then, any class evaluation score is extremely important to them. Then here is Class B, first grade. Luck. Although I thought Houtarou from Class C would exploit the scorecard bug on the two-person three-legged team, he didn't participate. Otherwise, the score between our class and their class will definitely be widened. Shibata-san said. Kanzaki Ryaji beside him nodded. Unlike the more innocent Shibata-san, he thinks more. At first, they were just worried that Houtarou would gain points, but now Houtarou is not here. But he was also worried about Oreki-san. He had already discovered that Oreki-san was letting off steam. So I was a little worried that Oreki-san was also involved in scoring points, but unfortunately, he stopped participating after completing a two-person three-kick. This made Kanzaki-san feel a little reassured, but also a little, upset. This is because Oreki-san and the others don't have to worry about such a small score this time, so they don't need to work too hard. But they can no longer lose here in Class B, so any class evaluation score is quite important. Only Ryuan and the others are crazy, Kanzaki said. Because Oreki-san and Houtarou-san, who were most worried, did not brush up points here, but Ryuan and the others went crazy and tried their best to brush up. And everyone was a little surprised to find that Long Yuan's forehead seemed to be injured and was wrapped with gauze. At the same time, his expression was terrifyingly cold. And every time I try my best to score points. I had no idea he was this kind of person. And Class A is here. I'm not happy, Kamuro-kun. In the camp of Class A, Yuzu Sakayanagi said. The cute little Princess Sakayanagi, who has short straight silver hair, is sitting on the side. And her puppy Kamuro was standing beside her. Sakayanaga's hands rested on his round knees, and a camera hung around his neck. I got the camera from my father, and according to what she said, I hope to capture Oreki-san's active figure. But after she got the camera, there weren't that many opportunities to take pictures. Because Oreki-san and Kamuro-san just finished the mixed three-legged competition between men and women, although they won first place because of their coordination. But I always feel, not exciting enough. In other words, I didn't feel that Oreki-san was paying attention. And other projects are also releasing money. Isn't it great to have won first place, but Kamuro-san had a different opinion. Getting the ranking means extra points. You don't understand, Sakayanagi-san said. I gave up on all projects this time, which means I have a lot of time, but Oreki-san didn't come to see me at all. You don't even eat with me. Oh. This is what you care about. I mean, this is what you care about. However, Oreki-san is probably by Horikita Suzun's side now. Because Kamuro-san was assigned to go get lunch at noon, but in the end he was unable to have dinner with him and instead worked for nothing. And Oreki-san is indeed by Horikita Suzun's side now. I didn't expect that she would actually send this kind of photo to you, Horikita said. Kushida started working hard. But before the afternoon game started, she went back to the dormitory, And Oreki-san didn't wait long. About 10 minutes before the show started, I received a special photo. Because it was an incredible photo, after checking it 5 or 6 times, Oreki-san saved it to the SD card and then deleted the contents of the phone. Now the two of them were leisurely sitting in the audience watching Kushida-san's game. After all, she has no other choice, Oreki-san said. I always thought of her as a troublemaker. And she has the same obsession with you as Hoshinomiya-sensei has Chibashira-sensei. I think you know it yourself, Oreki-san said. Horikita. Of course I know. Until this morning, Kushida would still go to her dormitory door every morning and block it. If you listen to the contents of the recorder, you will know that because she and I were in the same junior high school, she probably thought I knew her dark history, Horikita said. And in order to protect herself, she tried every possible means to drive me out of school. Maybe it's more than that, but Oreki-san shook his head. What kind of person do you think Kushida is, he said. And I consulted Kuruzawa. I asked her how she would treat someone who was different from what he appeared to be. In fact, he was just pretending to be someone he showed off. How would she treat him, Oreki-san said. Then what did she answer, Horikita asked. Kuruzawa. Although she has a strong presence in the class and is not very popular among boys, she is very talkative among girls. And she also helped her when the two were training on 3 legs. At that time, she herself ruined the atmosphere. But Kuruzawa-san came out to reason, so Horikita Suzun paid attention to Kuruzawa. Oreki said. Her statement is that we should treat it normally. She said, because none of us can be what we appear to be, so how can we blame others? After hearing this reply, Horikita was silent for a moment. Because this statement cannot be denied. Because most people cannot admit that they are a consistent person. Then I roughly understood why she hates you, Oreki said. At first, I felt that her hot face always stuck to her cold butt, and she was always rejected by you. Then she became stubborn. But later I found out that it was because she couldn't be what she seemed. But you are different. Horikita, you are a very kind person. She was jealous. She's jealous of you. Are you jealous of the things you can't get and don't have? Horikita-san doesn't think there's much in her that Kushida would be jealous of, or maybe she thinks Kushida's style would be more adaptable to society. But for her now, what she knew was. I always feel like you know her very well, Horikita-san said. Very understanding. Oreki. Do you know it well? If it was the body, he might understand better. But he had always refused to get in touch with the part of Kushida's heart that was the core of the trouble. Therefore, the information I am getting now is actually what you told me. When Horikita Suzun and Kushida went to eat and ran to their usual place, they saw Oreki-san taking a nap. But it was no ordinary nap. But a precognitive dream. 10 years later. Lawyer Horikita is on a business trip. While watching Kushida's sister imitating Ellie at home, Oreki made a call to lawyer Horikita, who was on a business trip. Asked her what she thought of Kushida. At that time, lawyer Horikita responded like this. What Kushida lacked was exactly what she had. And it's everything. Although the two are twisted friends, the jealous relationship feels troublesome. But for Oreki-san, Kushida-san's true face towards Horikita can be revealed, which will make it easier for the 3 of them to plan in the future. Because there is no need to hide so much from Horikita-san. So, Oreki's evaluation of Ryuan is that Ryuan is a very stubborn person. People like Ryuan will only hit a wall and turn around after testing it themselves and losing once. The same is true here in Kushida. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 252. She became a spy for Class C on the last ship, but as long as she targets Horikita, she will still go out. So, let her take action once, and if she loses, she will know the pain. At the same time, Horikita-san can also have weapons to counter-attack and destroy her. And for Kushida, it was probably because he finally attacked once, but the result was unbearable. In this way, what else could she do? Very desperate. But her mind may not be very good, Oreki-san said. The Ibuki from Class D I met is relatively simple. And here Kushida. She's probably the kind of little fool who thinks she's smart. Because she probably went in the wrong direction. Your brother and you are in the same junior high school, and you and Kushida are in the same junior high school. After 3 years in school, do you think the next freshman will not be in the same junior high school as you? So, she wanted to keep her secret, so she wanted to drop you out of school. But there will be new students coming in later. Then what will she do next? Oreki-san said. So when Kushida-san returned to the auditorium out of breath, she was suddenly told what she would do if a freshman from the same junior high school as her enrolled in the next class of freshmen. Very desperate. P.S. Thank you everyone for voting yesterday. Retained third place. Okay. Original reward data monthly ticket 7,397 recommended ticket 70,545 blade 3,098. Current data, 9,666 monthly votes, 81,523 recommended votes, 3,491 blades. The monthly ticket costs 100 for additional updates, the recommended ticket costs 2,000 for additional updates, and the blade costs 50 for additional updates. IOU 22.69 add 5.489 add 7.86 equal 36 chapters and 2,000 words. Plus the original 43 chapters and 2,000 words. Total, IOU 79 chapters and 2,000 words. A total of 158,000 words, can I still afford it? Unruly.jpg, x. Crying.jpg, square root. Chapter 104 It doesn't matter, because I will take action. Because she received very bad news, Kushida-san was not in a good mood. Because she was only thinking of targeting Horikita Suzune, but what Oreki-san said also made sense. That is, her dark history is there, and anyone who is a student of that school might know it. So, what if the next class of freshmen also has juniors from the same place? So is she going to seal her mouth? This is a really bad scene. However, since she had already played 4 games in a row, Oreki-san's attention was focused on Horikita-san after handing her a bottle of mineral water. Horikita-san is quite pretty. There is no need to doubt this. She has waist-length black hair spread over her back and shoulders, with a small bow tied with a white ribbon on the right side and a long, thin braid. The waterfall-like black hair carries a lily fragrance, probably the smell of shampoo. Long eyelashes, orange fox-like eyes full of charm, and that delicate face. It seems to be very elegant when maintaining elegance or aloofness. Now it seems that due to rest, the awe-inspiring temperament has weakened slightly, but for Oreki, it is becoming more and more like the familiar lawyer Horikita. So, it's true that if he doesn't do anything excessive, Horikita-san will become lawyer Horikita 10 years later. Oreki. And Horikita Suzune noticed that Oreki-san seemed to be distracted. It's nothing, Oreki-san said. Then he turned to Kushida Kikyo. Kushida is now sitting on the right side of Horikita. But when Oreki-san came over, the place seemed a little crowded. Kushida-san, please give way, Oreki said. Kushida. Fine. Just let it go. So Kushida-san, who had just come up to rest out of breath, stepped aside, and then she found Oreki squatting down in front of Horikita Suzune. Then he pinched her injured left bandaged leg with his right hand. You are more aggressive with your actions this time, Oreki-san said. Generally speaking, it won't hurt. Horikita. Well, Horikita knew that Oreki-san was explaining that he had given her a voice recorder, and this was just to make her more thoughtful. In the end, he was injured and was framed by Ryuan. Although in the end, Sakura-san picked up the recorder and took the recorder back, allowing her to rebel against Ryuan's army. And she is indeed immature. Because in fact, when Kinoshita called her name during the game, she shouldn't have looked back. If she didn't look back, maybe neither she nor Kinoshita would be hurt. Horikita Suzun reflected on her actions. But Kushida on the other hand felt a little redundant for a moment. Because isn't the relationship between Oreki Houtarou and Horikita Suzun very good? Kushida has considerable communication skills and perfect approachability. She could quickly close the distance between people, but at this moment, she found that she couldn't blend in at all. This is really frustrating. So she walked aside. And Oreki-san touched Horikita-san's left leg. The female teacher in the health room put a bandage on her. But it's probably just a sprain. But even if it is really broken, it doesn't matter, because he is still hanging. Use resilience. Note, the restoration ability has been enhanced. Items or creatures can be restored to their state within the previous week at the same time. You can jump out of the state that must be damaged, including menstruation can also return to the time when it has not yet come. Yes. Oreki-san didn't hesitate. However, although Horikita-san is relatively slow emotionally, her physical senses should still be relatively sharp. He had cured her of 2 consecutive illnesses on the ship. At that time, there was still a progressive state of the disease that could be used to explain itself. But now, this was a direct sprain, which forced her to abstain from the 2-person and 3-leg event, so she would definitely be surprised if she recovered all of a sudden. And Oreki was not the kind of person who could watch his future wife walking around with an injured leg. So he said, "Students in my class have received your class's entry form. Then I saw that you signed yourself up for the 1,200-meter all-grade relay. It's scheduled for the 4th round, Oreki said. I think I want to take the same exam as my brother." Well, you know, this Horikita Suzun's tone seemed to have become weaker. That's true. Because my brother is already in the 3rd grade and will graduate from here soon. And I want my brother to see my growth. Do you look at your own growth? Oreki-san also tried this, but the elder sister suddenly hugged him and said something like how cute he was. This was so embarrassing. That's why Horikita-san wants her outstanding brothers and sisters to look back at her. In fact, he quite understood it. And here is Horikita-san. She was judged to be a weak girl when she first entered school, and when she finally stayed, Horikita brother probably thought that this girl was too weak and would be bullied when she went out, so it was better to keep her under his nose. Although Horikita's sister chose to cooperate with him compared to when she first entered school and was even taken flying by him, she was injured again now. At the same time, she may still feel that she is lucky because Sakura-san appeared, brought back the recorder, and then fought back against Ryuan. But she didn't know that it was what he commissioned Sakura to do. The purpose is to save her some face. So, Horikita's current behavior actually shows no growth at all. Then what was shown to Horikita-san was also a pretty bad answer. However, Oreki-san is still able to muddle along here, and it is not a bad life choice to go directly to the future 10 years later. In other words, in the early stage of collecting points, he still took 500,000 from Horikita's brother to take care of his sister. Then, if nothing is accomplished, Horikita's brother will definitely make things difficult for them in every possible way before we truly become a family in the future. Oreki-san doesn't want things to get complicated. So, Sister Horikita, please try harder. Let your brother feel that it's okay for him to take you with him. So, my sister taught me massage, and it may have some effect on your injury. But it's probably only a temporary relief. So you still need to cultivate yourself in the future, Oreki-san said. Can you do this? Horikita Susan thought Oreki-san was trying to comfort her. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 253. Have you forgotten what your brother said about me? Oreki-san said. For it. How do you rate it? On the night of the encounter, my brother said that this man reached the limit of human beings. Then I saw a cheat like Takahiraji, and then I saw Takahiraji making himself sick, and then he recovered immediately after getting on the ship. This restorative power is simply outrageous. So, she probably thinks that these Hummers have unique techniques or body care plans. Then, he watched as Oreki-san untied his bandage and held her ankle. Oreki-san watched. Her feet are quite beautiful, and her skin is very white, and you can see the traces of green blood vessels. However, the ankle is slightly swollen, which is obviously a damaged area. And far away. Although Kushida-san stepped aside understandingly, she was also paying attention to Oreki-san's actions. I felt dizzy instantly. Because doesn't this man really like hands? As a result, he is still a foot control now. Really annoying. She is normal XP. But as Oreki Houtarou said, her enemies suddenly increased, and the juniors from the same junior high school became even more troublesome. Because, although she didn't want to admit it, she actually recognized Horikita Suzun's character of not talking nonsense. But maybe other juniors, Kushida-senpai, you don't want your past to be known, right? How can this happen? So, instead of sharpening her head and dropping out of school, Suzun Horikita was better off thinking about what she would do if a first-year student enrolled. As for the current option, it seemed that the only option was to seek help from Oreki Houtarou. This man is too strong, but he is also ruthless. If you don't use beauty attacks, he won't help you at all, and will even treat her as a trouble. So she was also thinking about how to protect herself. For example, if you pay a little more benefits to the other party, after taking the photo, your shame will almost explode. But now, I feel a little regretful. Because she didn't want her feet to be played with. Oreki Houtarou, can you be normal? In this way. About an hour later. A reminder music played over the school pot. Because the recommended event is about to be the last event of the whole grade, the 1,200-meter relay. In the center of the playground, a huge LCD screen displays the current scores of the red and white groups. Red Group Ad League, 17,800 points. White BC League, 14,400 points. The results are very obvious. The red group scored 3,400 points higher than the white group. The victory of the red group is already certain. Because the points that can be obtained by the remaining 1,200-meter relay for the whole grade are as follows. First place can earn 150 points, second place 90 points, third place 45 points, fourth place 30 points, and fifth place 24 points. Undoubtedly the highlight. The total scores of the top 5 teams are only over 300 points and less than 400 points, so even if a BC League performs a miracle and wins the top 5, it can only open up more than 300 points, which is completely hopeless. All classes that lose the red-white confrontation will have their class evaluation score of 100 points deducted directly. Therefore, it is visible to the naked eye that a large number of students from Class B and Class C have no fighting spirit on their faces. But that doesn't mean it's just ruined. Because in addition to the confrontation between the red and white groups, there is also the confrontation between the same grade. The total scores of each class will also be ranked for each year. The class that takes first place in the comprehensive score will be awarded a class evaluation score of 100 points. Add 100. Class evaluation scores for classes that place second in overall scores will not change. Add 0. The class that ranks third in the overall score will have 50 points deducted from the class evaluation score. Minus 50. A class that ranks fourth in overall score will have 100 points deducted from the class evaluation score. Minus 100. Although the scores are not high, the total scores of the 4 classes in the current first grade are still quite close. Class A, first grade, 1,741 points. Grade 1 Class B 1,800 points. Grade 1 Class C 1,205 points. Class D, first grade, 1,795 points. Class C has basically sent it, and is definitely the last one. But ABD still bites very close here. Among them, Class B and Class D were slightly ahead. Therefore, the other 3 classes in the first grade are also paying close attention to this final 1,200-meter duel between the whole grade. And here is Class A, first grade. Katsuragi-san, the host of Class A's sports festival this time, was giving the final speech or encouragement. This time in the red-white competition, we are in the red category, and it has been determined that the class evaluation score will be at 100 points. However, if we can get first place, then we can add another 100 points for class evaluation. Katsuragi-san said. The current total score of Class A is not high, falling behind Class B and Class D. But if you can get the first place in the relay and get a total score of 150 points, then no matter where Class B and Class C get, then Class A will be first. It can also add another 100 points to the class evaluation score. But the pressure to get first place is too much. Because this is a whole grade project, in other words, there are 12 classes in total, including the class of second year Nagamo Masaru, and the class of Horikita Manabu, who is said to be the strongest student council president in history. And if Class A wants to get first place, does that mean defeating these 2 people? Katsuragi-san felt the pressure. So he also said, even if we didn't get first place, our class still defended itself in this sports festival, Katsuragi said. But my physical ability is limited, so I can only stand in the audience and cheer you on. Katsuragi-san actually realized his mistake. The current Class A is far away from Class B and Class D. But the students in Class A have the strongest physical fitness. In other words, he was dealt the best cards but didn't play well enough. Because he made a mistake. After the entry forms for each class were submitted, everyone from the Katsuragi faction and the Sakayanagi faction got the entry form for Class C. After all, Class C was the poorest before, and there were also a considerable number of people willing to be spies. So I got the entry form for Class C all at once. At the same time, I also learned that Class C and Class B are uniting, but it is not a union in that sense, but there are too many sports scumbags in Class C who want Class B to let go. Then those Notre Dame students in Class B actually chose to agree. As a result, students in Class B will abstain from some personal projects. The result is that the overall score of Class B will decrease. It will definitely be beneficial to Class A. So even after getting the entry form at that time, Katsuragi-san's thought was, that she didn't need to worry about it. The result is numb now. Because both Class B and Class D were trying to gain points in the recommended projects, there was a bug in the mixed male and female 3-legged game. The result becomes the current value. The total score of Class A is lower than Class B and Class D. It seems Katsuragi-san has realized his mistake. In the base camp of Class A, little Princess Sakayanagi said to Oreki-san beside her. Katsuragi-san is mobilizing the athletes participating in the 1,200-meter relay race. Oreki was also a participant in the 1,200 meters, even the last one. But he didn't pass. And Katsuragi-san had no objection either. He was still discerning and knew that Sakayanagi-san didn't seem very happy today, but after Oreki-san passed by, her mood seemed to have softened. She looks like his sister outside school. He was immediately soothed. So for this reason, there was a situation where Oreki-san could stay aside as a contestant. This, Oreki-san said, I don't think it's a big problem, because I will take action. Then I'm going to take a good photo, Sakayanagi said. It seemed as if the emotions that had been dormant for a long time suddenly expanded. A cute smile finally appeared on her face. This sports festival is so boring. As expected, Oreki-san can bring fun to others, Sakayanagi said. So, will you unleash your full speed? Sakayanagi Arisu sometimes uses honorifics, some of which are polite, and some of which mean looking down on the other person. The more he dislikes the person, the more respectful he will be. Certainly. Nowadays, it's a polite expression to probably mean you're in a good mood. Probably, Oreki said. After all, I have to run the last leg, and my opponent will be either the student council president or Nagamo Masaru. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 254. If you don't run as hard as you can, you won't get first place. Okay, Sakayanagi-san recorded it. Then I'll wait at the finish line. But Kamuro-kun, who blended into the ordinary background, pouted. It is different from Sakayanagi Arisu in Shangzin. Although Kamuro-san admits that girls are not as strong as boys in terms of physical strength, she also works with Oreki on a three-legged team of 2 men and women, so she knows that Oreki-san's physical fitness is good, but in daily training, Oreki-san is basically fishing for fish. And at his usual speed, he couldn't compare to Suidu, the bad guy from Class C, not to mention that monster Kojinji from Class C. And the student council president is also a monster. So are you two so confident? But as the pet of 2 people, no one let her talk now, so she kept quiet. And here is Class B, first grade. The total score of Class A is now 1,741 points. And our class has a score of 1,800. In the red-white confrontation, our class belongs to the white group, and it has been confirmed that the class evaluation score will be -100 points. But the 2 people who participated in the recommended event raised the total score with 3 kicks. And this time, there is also a student council president's class in the all-grade event. So even if the students in Class A are very strong, the student council president has a greater chance of winning. So our class only needs to get 2nd and 3rd place, Kanzaki-san cheered everyone up. Sorry, my physical condition is not very good, so I can't be of much help, Ichino said at this time. There's nothing we can do about it. Everyone's physique is different, but his slight apology was immediately soothed by the other little angels. And Ichino-san, your strategic plan also allowed us to get the current score, which is already great. Do not worry. And Shibata-san, who had a white band on his forehead to represent the white team, said, I will run the last leg. You will unleash all of your unprecedented potential. Shibata is a sunny boy. Kanzaki Ryaji and the other party are both members of the football club. At the same time, Kanzaki also admitted that Shibata is a genuine sports fan. So it was reassuring to let Shibata run the final leg. If the red-white confrontation fails, then for the current Class B, the only option is to work hard to get 1st place or 2nd place without deducting the class evaluation points. But now the scores in the class have reached here. It is really unacceptable not to rush for the 1st place. At the same time, if there is a victory, it can also improve morale. Everyone in the class is the target Class A. It's just that Class A is too far away. At the same time, in this sports festival, Class C has been confirmed to be in last place, and Class A, even if it gets 3rd place, can still add 50 points in this exam. So the distance is still widening. For them, Class B is still far away, but as long as they win from Class A, it can become the motivation to support them going down. So, fight. And here is Class D, first grade. First year Class D was also conducting pre-game mobilization and training, however, it did not take place. The students of Class D are all staying here at the base camp. At the same time, none of the 6 contestants who submitted for the 1,200-meter grade level competition at the beginning did any warm-up before running. Instead, they all stared at Long Yuan eagerly. Ryuan held his cell phone. And not for a while. Beep. 500,000 private points have been credited to your account. The transfer was made to Tatsuka Yahiko. 1 million personal points have been credited to your account. The transfer party is Hanamai Ichino's. Your account balance is 1.5 million 1,800 points. OK, Long Yuan said. 1.5 million points have been received. Canada, 390,000 points have been transferred to you. You divide them up and each person gets 10,000, Long Yuan said. Clear. When his name was called, Canada, who was wearing glasses, nodded. Then I started transferring this month's living expenses to my classmates. It's the 27th now, but it's still 4 days before school number 1 distributes the money. Everyone has less than 2,000 points left, so they can't go for the mountain and vegetable set meal. In fact, this is also a last resort. Because the evidence was caught in the inversion game, if it was reported, then Class D would really be ruined. At the same time, the boys who would oppose Ryuan before have also shut up. Because all the boys were caught this time, if Oreki reported the evidence, everyone would get 0 points. The bottom 10 randomly selected students will be deducted 10 points for each subject in the next written test. This is a devil to Class D, which is full of bad students. Therefore, there will be dropouts at that time. But this school still gives people hope, and no one wants to drop out of school just like that. And even if you are forced to stay as a Class D student, you can still get free tuition and possibly living expenses. This is something that no outside school can do. So no one wants to drop out. To eliminate this danger, each person needs to pay 500,000 points. But no one has 500,000. So the whole class can only contribute money. In this way, his share was also shared equally by the class, so even if he felt that Ryuan had been making mistakes and wanted to object, it would be shameless. But these were the boys being punished, and there were also 20 girls in the class. The girls would be dissatisfied if they were given so much money, or even if they were in debt. That's why the current situation emerged. Get some money first, then appease. Shiana, you really thought of a good plan, Ryuan said. Here in Long Yuan. They made points trades. I contacted the members of the Katsuragi faction in Class A and made a deal to abstain. It was sold on the condition that students from his Class D would abstain from the 1,200-meter relay race. Now the scores of the 3 ABD classes are very close. So if he chooses to abstain, the other 2 classes may be tempted. In this way, to be on the safe side, the Katsuragi faction gave a reward of 500,000 points. As for Class B, Ichino's and the others wanted to get more money and directly offered a price of 1 million. So after counting, I came up with 1.5 million. Then the result was that they did not participate in the 1,200-meter relay race. Then the score of 1,795 will be entered into the final total score calculation. This score is terrible. It can basically be confirmed that it is either the second to last or the third to last. Then what we are faced with is a situation of -50 class evaluation scores or at 0 class evaluation scores. However, because it is the red team in the red-white confrontation, it can get a at 100 class evaluation score. Then this result is acceptable. At the same time, there is nothing we can do about it. Points are being taken away continuously, and now everyone has less than 2,000 points. The next few days are going to be tough. So, rather than not knowing the result of whether you can get into the top 5 and get extra points, it's better to just exchange for direct benefits, Shiana said. Shiana classmate, Hiri Shiana. He is one of the think tanks of Ryuan class. Since entering school, Ryuan has fought against Oreki from classes several times, although he has lost both times. And this time, the loss was particularly miserable, but it also made everyone understand how cruel a school where strength is supreme can be. If they were treated as ATM machines, then Oreki-san from class A would be a monster in withdrawing money. Because her personal points were reduced to 1,400 points, Shiana-san gave Oreki-san a nickname. But because it threatened herself, she had to think how to reduce losses. Hence the current result. After the money was taken away, the athletes in Class D tried their best to gain points in the recommended projects. Then it got to a state where both Class A and Class B could take it seriously. Then, sold it for a good price. But this selling idea is really good. In the 1,200-meter relay race, only the top 5 can get rewards. If you want to get first place, you have to outperform the student council president, second-year Class A, and even Oreki Houtarou. Look. By the time he was at the last bat, I didn't want to be with him, Ryuan said. In other words, they think that even if their class participates in the 1,200-meter relay, their chances of winning are slim. So it's a wise decision. But Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 255. Shiana-san also noticed that Ryuan-san's unruly attitude seemed to be suppressed. But this can be proven by the bandage on Ryuan-san's forehead. He must have experienced a considerable loss of dignity. But until now, this man hasn't given up completely yet. And if you want to be promoted to Class A, you really need the support of this kind of person. There is a reason to be cowardly. Lower your head first so that you can stand up better. With this thought in mind, she looked forward. The 1,200-meter athletes have already entered the venue. If she was right, the students in Class B would probably be miserable this time. In this way, as the students of Class A entered the room, the students of Class B were excited, and the students of Class D were showing off. Oreki-san and the others also arrived at their designated positions. Last stick here. And there are some acquaintances here. For example, take Nagamo Miyabi from Class A of the 2nd grade. Nanyun didn't lie, he was indeed the last one. Then there is the student council president Horikita Manabu with a serious and expressionless face. As the monitor of Class A of the 3rd grade, he naturally also gives the last blow. Isn't this Oreki-san? And at the last one, Nanyunya took the initiative to come over. You're here. Nagayunka did not forget that he was given a challenge by Oreki. And his body was adjusted to its best condition. He watched Oreki's game and controlled the opponent's speed, so he felt it was safe. The odds are still his. But your 1st grade is quite interesting, Nanyun said. If Class D of the 1st grade abstains directly, then if Class C of the 1st grade. When I was watching the game in the morning, there was a sports guy in Class C. His speed was pretty good, maybe a little faster than mine, but it's a pity that he left the game midway. And talking like this, Nanyun suddenly shut up. Because. Is this right here? The last shot, the red-haired athlete from Class C came to Nanyun's side. Nanyun. Grass. So, what happened? Chapter 105 The Legendary Race, the beginning of a new era. Naeun looked at the tall boy with short red hair who had already run over and stood at the last baton position in astonishment. This is Sudo from Class C. During the morning match, Nagamo took a moment to take a look. Well, Actually he wanted to confirm Oreki Houtarou's strength. After all, sports events and talent are both Nanyun's strengths. Moreover, adjustments and recovery have been made in the past half-month. So he feels that he has reached his maximum now. However, that guy Oreki still had a bet with him. As Nagamo, who has always been at a disadvantage, he doesn't want to face each other. After all, there is still the position of student council president waiting for him to pursue, and getting the position of student council president is the real thing. But I feel unconvinced when I keep losing. The group of bitchy in the class also knew that Oreki Houtarou's class obtained a large number of scores and points in the Kojima examination and the benefits examination, and then some first-year students actually achieved the result one plan, each of them received 50,000 of points reward. None of the students at this school have done this. All students actually received 80 million points from the school. The girls also learned from the girls in the lower grades that half of all first-year students' points in this exam need to be submitted and put into Oreki's account. Because it was Oreki-san who made the adjustments and let everyone have money to spend. In other words, Oreki Houtaru is the biggest winner, and it has been confirmed that he may have 30 to 40 million points in hand. The total number of points in Nagamo's class is now only over 4 million. And the value of 30 to 40 million is indeed a terrifying concept. So, this is quite attractive to them. Then, Oreki Houtaru's photo was circulated among the girls in the class, and some students chose to use it as their avatar or screensaver. Nagaun has never been treated like this before. Since he was in charge of the usual exams, no one had to worry about the school's special exams. But now they wanted to target the junior boys. These blue pools. It was obvious that he had been fulfilling the function of a big tree that shielded people from the wind and rain, but in the end, no one came to see him. So Nanyun became more cautious about this bet. He will run the last leg of the 1,200-meter race. Although Oreki is occasionally seen training with a tall girl with long purple hair in his class on the playground, the usual training may be just ordinary training, and the other person's true strength may be more than that. So Nagamo went out of his way to confirm Oreki's performance in individual events. As a result, when checking, I found that there were also perverted sports cheats among the first-year students. In his opinion, Pseudo from Class C might be as fast as him or slightly faster than him. And it was just a really bad experience. But fortunately, the sports geek from Class C gave up midway. So I don't think the 1,200 meters will be right this time. Result. Day. Appear here now. Nagamo had a bet with Oreki and it would be good if he won Oreki Houtaru. But if you are surpassed by this Class C sports guy, then it's also very embarrassing. Because he felt that losing to Horikita would not be a shame. So, what happened? In fact, something quite simple happened. And the time goes back half an hour. Oreki-san had already fooled Horikita Suzun into finishing the massage, and the injury on her left leg was temporarily relieved. Because of the temporary recovery of her legs, she was able to participate in the fourth leg of the 1,200-meter grade relay as originally planned. But this time our plan to strip Ryuan class naked is basically complete, Oreki-san said. But there is still one problem that needs to be dealt with. Pseudo is the chess piece we sacrificed. Although he has completed his mission, he still needs to finish it off. And after this sports festival, Class C's class evaluation score is only 580 points, which is about to threaten our share. So you have to deal with it. This is not the case. If we lose points again, then Kojinji will be responsible. So this was Oreki-san's plan. Considering his future direction, if he doesn't deal with it and let brother Horikita see that his sister has not grown up and is even being cheated, brother Horikita may become an obstacle to him and lawyer Horikita. So I have to make this Horikita brother think that it is useful for his sister to follow him. The specific performance is to let brother Horikita see a barely okay situation, making brother Horikita feel that his sister has grown up. So what to do? Naturally, this is how to turn the tide. Class C will definitely fail in this test, but will show surprising power in the 1200 meters. And being able to integrate to this point, doesn't it mean that Horikita's sister has actually still grown? And don't forget, your brother also participated in this project. What you want to show my brother is that there are still people absent, although he had his own considerations, Oreki-san said to Horikita. He is not a student of Class C, so he can only control Horikita's sister for some things. Well, I know. A good brother is one of the weaknesses of a weak sister, so Horikita immediately obeyed. Kushida. Oh. So who is your brother? Kushida felt that he had heard a new piece of information, because he had no idea that Horikita Suzun still had relatives in this school. But now Horikita Suzun is ready to take action according to Oreki's request, and she can only follow passively. After all, instead of thinking about dropping out of school and having her true identity revealed, it would be better to help the other party. Then, Kushida-san and Horikita-san were entrusted to go to Hirata-san. But Horikita-san hopes that Hirata will bring everyone together. And after doing this, the students in the class looked over. And Horikita Suzun stepped forward. Attracted everyone's attention. But she didn't care. Actually, I'm quite disappointed, Horikita Suzun said. After Syuda's absence, it became like this. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 256. The red-white confrontation has been confirmed to have failed. The class evaluation score will be -100 points. And the current total score of the 4 classes, our class is the lowest, then we will also have to -100 class evaluation points. So our class was directly at the bottom in this sports festival. And this. It's a pity, as expected, Horikita Suzun said. As expected. Now that the boys have gathered and the girls have returned to the base camp, Kurosawa seems to be quite surprised when they hear Horikita-san's voice. Yes, as expected, Horikita Suzun said. Everyone's performance was terrible. And then got this ending. Ringtone. Suzun always felt that Kurosawa-san was very good at finding opportunities to talk to her. Although she feels that Kurosawa-san is quite arrogant in the class, it is undeniable that he seems to be helping her on her side. So Horikita-san continued. And it all started when Yuunji-san was unwilling to contribute to the sports festival. At this time, a large number of classmates' gazes fell on a man with his hair combed in a corner of the base camp, looking at his face in the mirror. And that man is Takahiraji. What does it have to do with him? However, considering that this class continues to be bad, his own share of the class evaluation scores will soon be damaged. So Takahiraji didn't speak, but looked to see what Horikita girl was going to do. For him, it was too bad that there were too many bad athletes in the class, and the scores of his classmates were needed in the sports festival. And the only way to win is to work harder. Strong people go to gain points. But Takahiraji is a genius and thinks he is very strong, but his ability to work hard is bullying others. He is not interested in adults bullying children. So he was unwilling to participate in this sports festival. All projects were abandoned. And now, let him come and see what it will become. But the other side. Kushida. Kushida on the side also glanced in the direction of Kurosawa Megami, because as an assistant, she actually had to find an opportunity to pick up what Horikita-san said and then pass on the meaning. Result. How come Kurosawa can answer calls better than her? Kushida-san felt a little bit of pressure. So he said. Actually, this is a plan planned by me, Horikita-san, and Hirata-san. Then, everyone's eyes turned to the other person. Hirata. Hirata didn't make any plans. But the situation in the class is not good now. After Tsuyoda-san abstained, Horikita-san was also injured, and the class score could not be improved, so this time it was determined that the class evaluation score would be minus 200 points. And now is the last event, the 1,200-meter all-grade race. Due to the absence of the first runner, Tsuyoda, there is no replacement available for the time being. Because basically everyone knows that Class C has lost. Then it's just embarrassing to play. So the third place Naoto classmate also chose to abstain. He has not yet told everyone that Naoto-san also abstained. However, Horikita-san and Kushida-san still wanted to turn the tide, so he tried his best to show a gentle expression. Yes. Everything is as Kushida-san and Horikita-san said. He admitted that he, Horikita and the others had set up a trap. But Horikita-san continued to lie. The athletic ability of our class is not very good, so we need the students in Class B to show off. This is a lack of hardware. There is nothing to say. But among them, I found the biggest problem, that is, everyone has no cohesion. They are too self-centered. They don't even consider the interests of the class. So it ended up like this. So our class can't be saved? Of course not, because we have climbed up to Class C. I consulted with Mr. Chibashira. This is the only time or twice that happened among the students in the past dozen years. So aren't we pretty strong? Horikita-san was giving a speech. Chibashira. Chibashira. The tea girl who was passing by found that she had been named. But this time no one looked at her. But she didn't leave either. Instead, she crossed her arms and watched how these Class C students could develop. So our class is strong. It's just that your choices are disappointing. Tsuyoda's athletic ability is obvious to all, but he finally left the game angrily. This is because we ourselves have lost a companion. Then, even though I had used the bitter meat trick, you didn't notice much, and the grades the class received were still so bad, Horikita said. Although Kushida-san also tried hard, in the end, we couldn't draw any points. Profound. In other words, is Horikita-san's injury a ploy? Yes. After she was injured, she still worked hard to participate in horseback riding. Isn't this motivating people? But I myself am a thief, but Tsuyoda is not. He joined the project with considerable enthusiasm and the idea of gaining class evaluation points for the class. As a result, no one came to his aid during the reverse stroke. And this. Horikita-san paused for a few seconds after finishing speaking. The boys in the class noticed that the girls around them were looking at them like they were trash. Well. What can I do? Yamauchi, who noticed that he was being stared at, quickly defended. At that time, if I had gone, I would have been bullied. Yes, it's Barkit. Chi Kwanzi. Why does Yamauchi always throw the blame at times like this? I didn't mean it. I didn't expect Long Yuan and the others to be so scary. If we get injured, our personal achievements will be ruined. Chi said quickly. But as he said this, he found that everyone's looks were even worse. Well. Horikita-san, is there any relief plan now? He realized that this was not a criticism meeting, and Horikita, Kushida-san, and others said that this was planned from the beginning, right? Then there must be a rescue plan. Yes. It's not a complete failure yet, Horikita-san said. This time I think everyone knows that compared with collective benefits, personal losses sometimes need to be weighed. Then, you may also have discovered the importance of Tsuyoda-san. Compared with other classes, our class has many shortcomings. However, it is undeniable that we also have quite strong partners. So, the current ending is the result of everyone looking too much only at themselves. And this time it will definitely be a class evaluation score of -200 points. But I hope that such a painful loss can wake everyone up. We are a class, a collective. If you can't understand this, you won't be able to move forward, Horikita Suzun said. That means, we still have hope, a girl said. And this girl is not Kuruzawa, but Kushida's best friend Wangmayu. Yes, Horikita-san nodded, of course there is still hope. If our class can unite, we can still advance. So, in this 1200-meter all-grade relay, we can show ourselves to the whole school. Our class is not trash. Chibashira-sensei said that you were the worst class I have ever taught when you all got 0 points after the first month of school, after the code of conduct test. At that time, everyone was described as rubbish. But now, I don't want to be trash anymore. Then let's go get Tsuyodu-san back. Hirata-san understood at this time and suggested. Indeed, Tsuyodu endured a lot. Yukimura, the top student who had participated in the inversion competition together before but couldn't get close due to his physical condition, spoke up. I was very sorry then. But Tsuyodu is a fast runner at times like this, he has to be the one. Tsuyodu's athletic ability must be at the level of Class A. Everyone says that our Class C is not the worst. There are also students in the class who are comparable to Class A. We can't lose Tsuyodu. So it became this result. Tsuyodu-san was found by all the students in his dormitory. I was very angry at first and felt that these students could not be brought along at all. No one will even come to save yourself. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 257. Result. Everyone came back to invite him sincerely. I hope he can return to the class and lead everyone to move forward. Oh. And is he going to stop here? Tsuyodu's physical ability is very strong, but his academic ability is very poor. And his experience was also very bumpy. He was born to trashy parents, so he always thought he was trash too. Sports is the only thing he is good at, and he hopes to give full play to his ability, and this is the only place where he can gain recognition from others. He actually doesn't like to lose his temper or be violent, because he knows that he is a garbage child, and he obviously doesn't want to be like them, but he is becoming more and more like them. So he gave up midway and returned to the room. He had been thinking about such a thing. And is he going to stop here? So he's back. So we came to the last stop. Tsuyodu is tall and good at sports. Anyone who has seen his 100-meter and 200-meter hurdles knows that he is a bad sportsman. And then there's pressure to be the last one with him. Isn't the distance of meters very inspiring? Although Na Yunya said this, she was actually in a very unhappy mood. Because if Tsuyodu is in the first position, then if he can't outrun Tsuyodu, then it doesn't matter. Because they are not running together, there will be no shame. As a result, the other party was the last one to hit like me, so it was possible that he could not outrun the other party. Just thinking about this made Naeun feel shameless. There is still a little bit of time now, so maybe Tsuyodu can be persuaded to return to the first position. Oh, this. Tsuyodu didn't have any plans and answered directly when Nagai Yunya asked. Hirata-kun thought of it, so he asked the fastest runner in my class. He's here to kick off the show. His speed is faster than mine, Tsuyodu said. Nanyun. Is there anyone faster than you? So is it a monster? By this time, all the spectators were already in their seats. At the same time, the audience in the auditorium was also replenished. Since almost all the projects were completed, the students also came to the auditorium. Because the view from the base camp is not so clear. But because on the last leg, you can also see the finish line 200 meters ahead. Nanyun looked forward. There were some students at the finish line, probably wanting to see the champions. And Nanyun found that a girl with short silver-white hair held a cane and headed to the finish line. She may not be in good health and needs a cane to get around. But there is no denying that she looks quite cute. No, I should say super cute. And this girl, Nanyun knew about it. He was a student from class A who had to stay behind when Oreki and the others went to the island to take the exam because they were not in good health and could not follow them. Sakayanagi Arasu. But Naeun also noticed that there was a camera hanging around her neck. Camera. Do you want to take a photo? It seems that we really can't lose. Because although Nagamo's goal is to be the next student council president, it is undeniable that girls are really cute. So it makes sense to let cute girls worship you first. Nanyun wanted to show off in front of Banliu. Horikita senpai. So Nagamo looked at Horikita Manabu who was waiting on the side. Horikita turned around. Horikita Manabu was also the last one, and last year Nagamo was the last one with his opponent. But Nagamo lost to Horikita Manabu last year. And Horikita Manabu's strength was stronger than his. In fact, Nagamo felt that he could lose to Horikita Manabu, but he would not necessarily lose. Because Horikita's physical fitness is very strong, but as the student council president, Horikita doesn't have that much time for training and exercise. For things like running, as long as you don't run for a period of time, your limit will be shortened. So, Nagamo felt that he might be able to defeat Horikita Manabu this time. So I was going to say something more serious like this is the beginning of a new era. At the same time, the referee on the first leg is also ready. With the referee's gunshot, the tall man with blonde hair took the first shot. He took the best start and ran away at the fastest speed. That was a speed that ordinary people, or rather mortals, could not reach. And this is Rokusuke Takaharaji of Class C, first-year students. The first-year students know him. Especially the students in Class B, first grade. Wow, Class C's first hit is Kojinji. I wonder if Kanzaki can hold on. The person who spoke was Shibata-san, who was also staying at the last club. Shibata is the last baton of Class B, while Kanzaki is placed at the 1st Battalion. According to their assumptions, this time is an opportunity for Class B if they can get first place. Even if they don't get first place, the second and third place will still have the chance to be ranked first in total points. So I arranged for Kanzaki-san to come up first to build up his momentum. But now this side of Class C is Kojinji, isn't this scary? And Takaharaji is definitely a first-year super sports guy. In just a few seconds, he was already as far away from the other number 1 sticks as a celestial being. If the general audience thinks that Tsuyoda's 10-meter lead over the others at the beginning of the individual event is amazing enough, then the current Takaharaji, surrounded by seed players who want to suppress the arrogance of other classes, can also open a distance of 25 meters. This is already a monster. Stare ahead. Oreki-san turned to Horikita to learn this. Can President Horikita achieve such results? Horikita learned. Just barely. Naeun. Then you are great. In Nanyun's view, Kojinji is no longer a human being, but a monster. And Horikita Manabu, can you actually achieve such a speed? In other words, have you actually been letting off steam in the past? Nagamo, what did you just want to say? Horikita Manabu was a polite person and did not forget that Nagamo had just asked him. Nanyun. It's nothing, I just think this freshman class is amazing. Yes, Horikita nodded. I think so too. Nanyun then decided not to speak. He was starting to worry now. Because what kind of monster is the first stick? Now the first leg is in progress. The first leg of his class is running in 4th, but he is separated by nearly 30 meters by J. Yuanji. Gao Yuanji ran very fast. He said he didn't want to bully others, but he was indeed bullying everyone. Although my physical fitness can still allow me to continue, But now, leave it to you. Takahiraji smoothly handed over the second baton to Hirata, and Hirata from Class C, an all-powerful man, started a gorgeous sprint with his stable performance. With no sloppy movements and steady breathing, the 25-meter gap was still maintained when the third baton was handed over. The third baton was replaced by Onodera, a girl from Class C, a member of the swimming club. But she probably didn't expect that her class could gain such a big advantage, so she paused with her mind blank. The baton dropped to the ground. And this pause has given other classes the opportunity to move forward. Therefore, by the time the third run was completed, the advantage brought by Junji to Class C of the first grade had been shortened to 10 meters. And watched Oreki-san looking towards the fourth stick. The fourth baton of the first grade C baton is also a girl, a fox-eyed girl with long black hair. Quite beautiful. And she tied her long hair into a ponytail for the relay. This is quite a fresh image. And this girl, Nau Nu, was a top-notch beautiful girl. It's Oreki's ringtone. Snored. Nanyun then said. The situation in your class seems not to be good. Nanyun admitted that the opening of Class C, the first grade, was very stunning, enough to attract the attention of the whole school, but there was no way around the subsequent advantage. Because students in each class of each grade are specifically selected. And in this kind of competition, you must send out the best people in your class. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 258. So now students from Class A have the upper hand. But here is Class A, first grade. Something went wrong on the first pitch. That was when Takahiraji from first year Class C won the championship, and the first stick from first year Class A fell down. Maybe he was scared, Oreki-san said. As a student in Class A, those who are selected are basically the chosen one, and they have complete hardware. Probably he didn't expect that the one he was running with was actually a monster. So for a moment, I was scared. The first choice is Masayoshi Hashimoto. He is a flexible person, and he is also the type to follow whoever can take him to Class A. He originally wanted to show off once, but ended up losing so miserably. However, considering that this was a relay race, Hashimoto quickly continued to run forward. And because of this, the students in Class A lost some of their advantages. And in the fourth round, because of the Ryuan class's abstention. The classes running in front are the first grade Class C, the second grade Class A, the first grade Class B, the third grade Class A, and the first grade Class A. Please. Horikita Suzun said. Her fourth bat was over. At the same time, at this time, there is only an advantage of 1 meter. Kushida-san is the fifth best. She felt so shortchanged. Because she knew she would definitely be surpassed. But there is no way, now there are only 2 girls besides her in the 5th club, and the others are all boys. I can't run away at all. But everyone will only think that the advantages created by Junji will be surpassed by her. Thinking like this, Kushida could only run forward as hard as he could. But it seems that I am going to win this competition, Nagayunya said. Because the 5th stick in his class can already be seen, and the top one at this time is his class. As the 6th battalion, he will be the first to start. Then Nagamo-senpai, please run away first, I don't want to bully anyone, Oreki-san said. Oh. Let him run away first, I don't want to bully him. Listen to what this says. PA book by a big guy. Orange sticker, Alicia, you held the wrong child. That is the child of Chi-Chi and me. Our child is over here. Why did I have children with them before I got married? Shizuka Hiratsuka, wearing a wedding dress, fell into deep thought. He looked at them who were also wearing wedding dresses and were about to marry him, Alicia, Makima, Himing, Ram, Irina, Yuki, Yukino, Yui, Ying, Nazada, and Kelly, Eru, 02, Tachibana Kunde, S. Abdomen. Please do not take the above introduction seriously. This book is an orange-flavored candy sticker daily and barrage novel. With your support, I will have more motivation to code. Chapter 106. Sakayanagi Yuzu just wants to make a phone call now? Nagamo thought what Oreki Houtarou was saying. Unacceptable. But I don't think I'm taking advantage. I can start first because of the hard work of the students in my class. Nanyun said. Then he started running towards the destination, preparing for the relay. Sixth stick. The moment she caught the baton, Nauna began to move forward like the wind. The reason why he was assigned to Class B was not other than his personality, but his own physical ability was a genuine Class A grade that was specially selected. And it's stronger than the average Class A student. Not only has he participated in the football club and basketball club since he was a child, but he also insists on jogging 5 kilometers every morning. He works hard, so he will not lose. His motto is that opportunities are reserved for those who are talented and work hard. And that's the kind of person he is. So his speed is extremely fast. And in Nanyuan, he ran a distance of nearly 15 meters. The second place has arrived at the 6th bar. Thank you, Shibata-kun. The 5th bat from Class B of the 1st grade arrived. She was a girl in the class, from the tennis club, but she was a very fast runner. No problem. Shibata, who was tied with a white belt, held the baton and turned around and immediately moved forward like the wind. Started to chase Naun fiercely. Although it was very scary to see Rokusuk Kojinji in the opening scene. But there is still hope for Shibata now, and there is still hope for first-year Class B. In the red-white confrontation, their Class B was assigned to the white group and lost, but now they still have the class ranking of the same grade to work hard for. The goal of everyone in the class is Class A, so we can't lose any more points. And now this stick is the result of the efforts of all the students in the class. Whether it is Kanzaki-san who persevered, Amizuna-san who ran hard, or Ichino-san who is not good at sports but keeps doing various jobs, the efforts and hopes of the entire class are handed over to him. He has a mission. So Shibata immediately chased after him. Aim to surpass Nagamo. But this can only be a good expectation. Because it's better to look at me at this time. At this time, someone suddenly started to rush forward. And this is Takeru Seudo. This person who directly attracted everyone's attention in the boys' individual event reappeared on the court. If Shibata is the top student, then Seudo is the loser. Just cheat and rush forward. Takajanji gave Class C a 25-meter advantage, but by the time of the 5th leg, Kushida was already 15 meters behind. But now it's Seudo who's at the end of the line. Hold the baton. He could feel that all the students in the class were paying attention. His parents are trash who only quarrel, drink and hit others. He doesn't want to become like his parents. Unlike his parents, he has a talent for sports. And now, this is his moment. Goodbye. Seudo rushed forward, first surpassing Shibata, and then began to rush towards Nagamo. Well, Shibata-san's self-confidence was instantly thwarted. However, he held the baton and continued forward. The first place was definitely hopeless, but for the second place, he had to get second place. If he got second place, then the class still had hope of winning. The total scores of the 4 first-year classes in the sports festival are as follows. Class A, first grade, 1,741 points. Grade 1 Class B 1,800 points. Grade 1 Class C 1,205 points. Class D, first grade, 1,795 points. It has been confirmed that in the red-white confrontation, their side belonging to the white team lost, and the class evaluation score was -100 points. But Long Yuan from Class D of the first grade accepted the money and has already abstained. The final score will be settled based on 1,795 points. So their Class B still has hope in this relay race. In this 1,200-meter relay race, the first place can get 150 points, the second place can get 90 points, and the third place can get 45 points. 30 points for fourth place and 15 points for fifth place. And now in the total score, first grade Class A is 59 points behind them. The first place can be occupied, but if they get the second place, then their Class B can maintain the first place in the total score. Then, this time the sports festival will be minus 100 points, add 100 points class evaluation score to maintain the score. So, Class B still has great hope. So Shibata-san withstood the pressure and burst out with unprecedented speed, and began to move forward quickly. He tried his best to shorten the distance between him and Houtarou. Houtarou was already only 10 meters away from Nagamo. "It's really lively ahead," Oreki-san said. Then, "President Horikita, you have worked really hard." Because, when it was the fifth baton handover turn, the girl from grade 3 Class A who was about to take over was accidentally tripped by a girl from grade 3 Class B. So I was pulled 10 meters away. But now, it's not there yet. And Kamuro-san, the fifth best member of Oreki-san's Class A, is about to arrive. But Horikita Manabu's fifth shot was still 50 meters away from him. Then you have no choice but to go first. In response, Horikita looked calm. He is the monitor of Class A of the third grade at Horikita Academy. I worked hard with my classmates. In fact, he himself knew that although the students in the class came from Class A, they seemed to be similar to the quality of Class B in the third grade. At the same time, perhaps they are not as good as some students in Class B in some aspects. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 259. But that doesn't matter. Because everyone has worked hard together and traveled such a long distance together, we are destined to be here. And have a common goal. As one of them, he also hopes to work with everyone towards the graduation of Class A. So, he will wait, and he will catch up responsibly despite the distance lost by his classmates. It wouldn't be fun if I ran away first. Oreki-san said. At the same time, he called up the system prompts. Task requirement: defeat Nagayunya in the 1,200-meter grade-wide relay. Mission deadline: the day of the sports festival. Task penalty: deduction of 100,000 personal points. Task reward: equivalent exchange of special abilities. Oreki-san calmly clicked on the mission reward. Equivalent exchange: the function is to exchange things for objects equally through the values of recent civilizations. The price difference can be within 10%, controllable, and has no defects. It can be used on people, but the default value of the human body is 0, so often the item is exchanged for something of the same value as the target's clothing. This side mission is still so reassuring. It's not that the penalty is very low, it's just a drizzle of 100,000 points, but it is to defeat Nagamo, and Nagamo is already running in front, so all he has to do is catch up and surpass him. But, speaking of which, you just saw it. Oreki-san did not forget his goal. Your sister. Horikita learned. Well, I saw that she worked very hard. I thought she had dropped out. In other words, he was actually concerned about the fact that his sister was injured during the 200 meters. That's just a trick, Oreki-san said. The entry form for Class C has been leaked, and the students in the class really can't bring it up. Oh. I see. But in the end, being able to get Takahiraji and Houtarou to take action also means that something has been accomplished, right? Horikita Manabu said. As the student council president, he knows the mechanism of this school very well. At the same time, I also know how bad Class D is. But this year's students are an eye-opener. From Oreki, Itayanagi, Katsuragi in Class A, to Ryuan, Ichinos, Takajanji, and so on. Compared with previous years, they all appear to be even more outstanding. But it's a pity, because they will lose in the 1,200-meter relay this time, Oreki said. But it's not bad, isn't it? Horikita Manabu said. They've shown what they can do. I have always thought that students from this school are selected and submitted. And in the end, only those who graduate from Class A can have the promise that the school can fulfill. However, if students can persevere in this school, then in the future they will be different from students outside when they graduate, enter the society, go to school or work. They will have more solutions to the difficulties in life, work, and school. Methods and experience. The special exam is difficult and complicated, but after experiencing it, you can learn thinking patterns, cracking plans, unity and cooperation, etc. These are valuable assets for students. So I have never been able to agree with Nagamo's philosophy, Horikita Manabu said. Nanyun's philosophy is that strength comes first, and students who are not strong enough are directly excluded. Those with strength climb up. And this almost means giving up Class D or Class C. This is something Horikita absolutely disagrees with. And because you have this kind of thought, you are called the best student council president. Oreki-san thought to himself. But now that Horikita brother has begun to express his feelings, does it actually mean that Horikita Manabu is actually quite happy with the answer sheet submitted by Horikita's sister? As for Oreki-san, goal achieved. If he chooses lawyer Horikita, then when he comes to visit in the future, brother Horikita, a sensible person, will not stand in the way. Interpersonal communication is really not easy, Oreki-san sighed inwardly. But it's great that Horikita Nii is Horikita-san's older brother. Because both of them are similar in that they are easier to fool. Oreki-san. While Oreki-san was thinking about socializing with the Horikita siblings, Kamuro-san, the fifth stick, had already arrived. But she looked at Oreki-san with some surprise. Because even though Oreki held the baton in his left hand, Oreki-san didn't run forward immediately. Instead, he just held the baton and stood aside. Thank you for your hard work, Oreki-san said. I made an appointment with President Horikita to compete, so it would be rude to run first now. The divine room. Profound. Then you are great. She had run so hard just now, and then managed to shorten the distance by 5 meters. Did you end up not caring about it at all? Although he felt unhappy, Kamuro-san did not have an attack. Then she heard Oreki-san's voice again. You just shortened the distance and exceeded your limit. You have worked very hard, Kamuro-san, Oreki-san said. Oh. That said, I noticed that she tried hard. So Kamuro-san, who was in a recovered mood, walked aside. Her fifth stick would be in the way if she stayed here any longer. So Oreki-san just held the baton and stood there, letting the last batons from other classes pass by. 1 or 2 classes passed. Not moving at all. Still maintaining the same starting point as Horikita Manabu. And Manabu Horikita noticed the scene and smiled. But Oreki-san's unusual behavior immediately attracted the audience's attention. Sensing the strangeness, the audience all looked over. Akane Tachibana, the fifth stick member from Class A of the 3rd grade who had belatedly arrived in 6th place, also discovered this, so she sprinted over as fast as she could. And when Horikita Manabu and Tachibana Akane handed over the baton, Horikita brother finally made the declaration that Nagamo wanted to make before. This will be the beginning of a new era. Oreki, you can run away as much as you like. Even I really want to understand the limits of human speed. Oreki-san turned his head slightly, as if responding to him, but then, he disappeared from sight like the wind. Thank you for your hard work. Akane Tachibana, you can go and rest. As for Horikita Nii, the moment he grasped the baton, he did not drop it. Before his voice could even finish, his entire figure had disappeared from Jujian's face. And when Tachibana Akane blinked again, she saw that Horikita Manabu was already chasing Oreki Senpai in front like the wind. But between two breaths, he had already reached the same level as Oreki's junior. The two go hand in hand. Liar. Has Horikita-san actually been teasing everyone all this time? Akane Tachibana is a student in Horikita Gakuin's class, and she is also one of the few people in the class who can support Horikita Gakuin. As the designated secretary of Horikita Gakushu, Tachibana Akane felt that she knew enough about Horikita Manabu. Result. Today I discovered that Horikita Manabu has been suppressing himself. He is good enough, but he does not fully show it or take it seriously. In other words, he has never found anyone in school who can make him completely serious. It's really beyond appearances. The first pitch was over, and Gao Yuanji returned to the audience and stared at the field. I feel a little regretful, he said. I shouldn't have been the first. I always felt like I was bullying others. So I never wanted to compete with you mortals. But now, I really want to compete with them. No. You are already strong. And the classmates who were in the audience together thought in their hearts. Kojinji has always been a loner in Class C, and is quite casual. He was regarded as a problem child by everyone. But facing the Kojima exam, they gave them unbelievable high scores, and then even ran the limit of 25 meters. This made the students who were poor athletes who had experienced the sports festival and did not get any good results in the exam. A huge reaction has already occurred in my heart. Kamuro-san from Class 5, Class A, who had just stepped out of the way, was staring ahead. At the same time, she noticed that her phone vibrated. Sakayanagi Arisa called. The Divine Room. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 260. Why are you calling me at this time? Kamuro replied quickly. Kamuro-san, video, record the current scene. Itaira quickly gave instructions. Obviously she has made some assumptions, but she still has never seen what it is like to run beyond the limits of human beings. So I became excited. But please don't force yourself on others. Because who can catch up with them and take pictures? Kamuro feels that Sakayanagi-san is going too far as always. It seems I really made a mistake. And here in Class A's camp. Because there is the student council president and the second-year Nagamo Masaru, Katsuragi-san doesn't think that the class can catch up after falling behind. Then he saw how abnormal Takaharaji was, who was ranked first, and Hashimoto-san, who was ranked first in Class A, fell down and fell behind, so he gave up hope. Result. Oreki-san, who is the last one now, is actually a dark horse. Go head to head with the strongest student council president. Is Oreki Houtarou actually that fast? And Kushida Kikyo, who had already finished her relay order and got out of the way, looked confused. It's very fast. I didn't see his movement speed at all before. Horikita Suzun said matter-of-factly. Oh. So don't you know a lot about Horikita Suzun? Kushida felt that he was the only one who was deceived. Snort. Since no one was paying attention here, Kushida-san became a little more aggressive. The audience instantly became lively. Because two people were instantly cheated. This class of students is really amazing. The faculty and staff also came to the auditorium. The chairman sat with the first grade teachers. Class C, no, now it has fallen to Class D. The digital teacher on the homeroom board couldn't help but said. Ryuan's class still made a mistake in this sports festival. However, in the 1,200 meter all-grade relay, Long Yuan and the others even took the initiative to give up. He felt it was a pity at the time, because if he entered the calculation based on the value of 1,795 points, he might be deducted points. And now I feel, luckily so. Because what happened to these students? He only knows that the student council president is the strongest student council president in history, but Houtarou and Kojinji Rokusuke are two monsters. What kind of monsters are all in Chibashira's class? But not only Chibashira's class, Shibata from Hoshinomiya's class is also very fast, but now Oreki from Majima's class is also running so fast. Result: is it the only one in his class who is cheating? Probably thinking of something sad, the numbers on the board continued to have a straight face. The teachers in other classes continued to look forward. So I have high expectations for them, the chairman said. In fact, he didn't expect that Horikita Manabu could run so fast. In other words, Horikita Manabu has been suppressing his strength. Then match it with the class. But looking at it this way, it also shows that there are still some problems in the selection of the 4 classes in the school. For example, if you are selected to enter Class A, is it good enough? Excellent enough? However, for some extraordinary people, just Class A may not be enough. As the chairman of the board, Director Sakayanaga's thoughts are also quite serious. Chibashira. Chibashira stared ahead. But she felt like she had discovered an Easter egg. That was when she was forcing Horikita Suzun to move forward, she was defeated and shut herself down, and at that time she was thinking about who the man was that Horikita Suzun was. But now, it seems that I have understood it. Yes. Oreki Houtarou is a student of Class A, so to get into Class A, you must first defeat him, and this kind of thing, Horikita Suzun probably gave up on herself just thinking about it. So, no wonder Horikita Suzun rejected her outright. But it seems good now. Chibashira was relieved. Hoshinomi Yachiwai. As the other first-year class teacher present, Hoshinomi Yachie was actually the one in the worst mood. Because she paid attention to Chibashira's expression and also discovered Chibashira's state. It was indeed different from what she thought. Chibashira was really relieved. So what is the meaning of the life she has been chasing after? At the same time, now in the last leg of the 1,200 meters, Shibata-san is in danger now. Everyone is focusing on the last shot. At the beginning of the sports festival, Houtarou, a sports geek from Class C, first grade, opened their eyes. Then we also saw the performance of Rokusuke Takahiraji, who was the first player in the relay race. That's monster speed. People can't help but sigh, there are really people who can approach the limits of human beings. And now these two people are even more touching. Because they are faster and faster. All the attention of the students in the school has been gathered here. They no longer pay attention to whether the first place Nagoya has finished half of the race and still maintains a strong advantage. Instead, they focus all their attention on those two. On the person who is cheating. But Oreki-san didn't see them. During the race, he saw no auditorium or spectators in his eyes, but only the curve in front of him and the track from the finish line. It's an amazing experience. It's an addictive feeling. It is the limit of human beings. And there is only one thing he has to do, and that is to accelerate crazily and surpass everyone in front of him. 1, 2, the opponents with an absolute advantage in front were quickly surpassed, feeling the absolute cool breeze blowing from all around. He turned sideways and looked at Horikita Manabu, who was catching up. They both seemed to smile. Fierce cheers came from the audience. As for the girls in Class C of the first grade, several hot girls left their seats. Boys run too fast. They are completely different from girls. Sato couldn't help but come to the guardrail, as if he could see the scene on the field more clearly. Oreki-san from Class A is so handsome, Sato-san said. That's right, Kuruzawa. He's very handsome. Oh no. By the way, what you said is a bit dangerous. Kuruzawa glanced at Sato-san, a friend he had only made after coming to this school. Because isn't Syodo-san representing the class in the competition now? So why is your focus on Houtarou? Syodo-san is my classmate. Moreover, Syodo-san's current situation is not very good. Yes. The situation for Syodo-san is not good. Players who had gained an advantage constantly found themselves being overtaken by the two wind-like players, and slowly slowed down in a daze and stared blankly at their retreating figures. Because there is simply no comparison. The heart will be severely affected. Even Syodo-san from Class C, who has regained his confidence and wants to express himself, is no exception. So Oreki is super fast, isn't it? Then why don't you ask Kojinji to confirm the speed? Syodo couldn't help but complain. However, probably because my inner endurance had been strengthened, I was startled when I discovered the unconventional behavior behind me, because two monsters similar to Kojinji chased after me. But Syodo didn't forget that he was still in the race, so he quickly turned his head and continued running forward. And the end is there. Sakayanagi held up the camera her father bought her. This is probably because she hopes that she can record the scenes of her classmates' efforts, and then let her feel like they are involved. Due to her health, she was actually unable to go to school since she was a child and had to hire a tutor. However, after learning basic reading and writing, she began her own journey of self-study. However, even if he is very good, he is still a genius. But after all, he is a person. It's not perfect if you don't go to school and experience youth learning time with your peers. So after her father took over the position of chairman from her grandfather, she was given a quota and was selected to come here. After passing the assessment, he was assigned to Class A.